Are you a visual learner? Something you really got to see it to really understand it or be able to make a decision. You can't just visualize it. You got to actually see it. Well, perfect, because today's episode is just for you. We're talking about the best starts to your fantasy football draft, and we're doing it right about now.
Yeah. Analytics off the chain, all the channels not the same. Jake and Kyle, you know the name. Headliner Nation, we running the game.
What is going on, Headliner Nation? Jake, Fantasy Headliners. Hopefully everybody's doing well out there today. We're going to have some fun because we're doing a show we've never done here before. I've gone through and spent a lot of time looking at ADP here over the last couple days, and I've gone through and taken all 12 picks in the first round, and I've kind of built out 3 rounds worth of selections, I guess you could say. 12 different scenarios, and how did they turn out, one from each pick? It's going to be fun because I've assigned each team a hashtag as well. So after we go through all these scenarios, you're going to be able to leave a comment down below with the hashtag of the scenario that you liked the best. It's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to doing that. We got to give away a couple draft guides and a mystery jersey because you guys are absolutely crushing your like goals. The first thing, the 2 draft guides. This was from the most efficient running back video, so congratulations, Jason Hanson and Howard G. You are both winners of a 2022 fantasy football draft guide. Remember, it's available for pre-order, scheduled to drop right around July 1st. Get yours before it's too late. I've already reached out to them. They are on the pre-order list and good to go. And then the mystery jersey from the video, you won't believe this, one of my deep diving stat videos here just the other day. Matt Klein, congratulations. You are the winner of the mystery jersey. Already reached out to Matt. Should be good to go. Get him hooked up here really soon. Now, if I'm being honest, that video gives me a little bit of heartburn. YouTube decided to demonetize me on that video because of the clip that I put in the opening. So that really sucks. So yeah, make sure you get your draft guides pre-ordered. Greatly appreciate the support there. Now, what is your like goal for this video? It's a new video. Right, so 1,000 likes on this video. 2 more draft guides going to be given away to 2 random commenters down below. So leave those comments with those hashtags that we're going to be showing you here in just a second. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Let's dive right into the first overall pick. Now, here we go. Hey, and don't forget, once you see a scenario that you like, make sure you're leaving those hashtag comments down below. Got them right here on the screen. Keep the comments nice, though, because I'm going to pay my kids like $1 an hour to go through and count all these things. So keep them nice, please. First overall pick, not a surprise, right? Jonathan Taylor at the 1.01. Last pick of the second, first pick of the third, though. You could realistically go out there and get Mike Evans and Zeke Elliott. Would you be happy with a Jonathan Taylor, Mike Evans, Zeke Elliott, hashtag down with JTT overall start? Honestly, I have a feeling this one's going to get a lot of votes because when I see that on paper, I don't mind that whatsoever. Now, of course, sure, you could flip-flop Zeke and Mike. Doesn't really matter. They're back-to-back picks, but Jonathan Taylor, Mike Evans, Zeke Elliott, do you like that start for the first overall pick? I think you might. Number 2, second overall pick, Austin Eckler, currently consensus number 2. In the 11th pick of the second round, you can get up with Tyreek Hill, and then come back in the third, Mark Andrews. A balanced approach, 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, 1 tight end, hashtag hill climbing here because I have a feeling you're going to be climbing a hill looking for more running backs. If you wait this long to get your second one, you may end up with a guy like a Damian Harris potentially, which I would not dislike whatsoever. But how do you feel about the potential scenario here for the second overall pick? Third overall pick. This is where we got Derrick Henry. In the second, you come back and get CeeDee Lamb. In the beginning of the third, you get Cam Akers. Now, we know Derrick Henry is going to get huge volume. We know CeeDee Lamb is going to be the guy in Dallas, especially with Michael Gallup still not 100% upon his return from a torn ACL. But then we got Cam Akers. And Cam Akers is kind of like the X factor, right? Love Cam Akers. I love the talent of Cam Akers, but we're still a little bit iffy on what he's going to look like this year. A lot of people fell in love with Cam Akers once he made his, crazy return the end of last season. Dude is a superhero. I believe in videos last year, I called him a real-life Avenger for as soon as he came back. But he didn't look good in the playoff. The reason his numbers were anything near fantasy relevant is because of the volume he was getting, but on film, he just didn't look great. He didn't look explosive, which is understandable. I get that, but I haven't seen that explosiveness come back yet, so I'm a little bit worried here. If Cam Akers is 100% healthy and you get Akers, Henry, and Lamb, I'm all over it. Hashtag Green Acres If you like this third overall pick scenario, down below. On to the fourth overall pick. This is where we have Cooper Kupp, Leonard Fournette in the second, and James Conner in the third. So you get your wide receiver 1 in the first round. Everybody knows I like heavy running back early. Do I hate ending up with Leonard Fournette and James Conner? No, as long as they both stay healthy. I mean, obviously we know Leonard Fournette in the past has had his issues along with James Conner. If they can both stay in their respective lineups though, you're looking at 2 top 12 guys and Cooper Kupp. So I don't hate that. There's just a little bit more risk here with this one. The hashtag for this one's don't be a Jimmy. And maybe you've seen that in a previous video. We just talked about not being a Jimmy. James, Jimmy, you get the correlation. All right, on to the fifth pick now. We got the 1.05, currently Christian McCaffrey. And then followed up in the second with Saquon Barkley. And then the third with Antonio Gibson. This right here is what you call risk heavy. However, if McCaffrey, Barkley, and Gibson actually pan out, you could be looking at 3 top 12 guys. Now, obviously, I think Antonio Gibson's outside the top 12. And we want to believe in McCaffrey and Barkley, right? But the injuries over the last couple years have just been horrendous to your fantasy teams. This is one of those starts that if you nail it and they're healthy, you win your league on draft day. If they're not healthy, you basically lose on draft day because you're putting so much stock into the running back position that has so much risk with these picks. There's no safety in the first 3 rounds, and that makes my hair turn even grayer than it's already getting. So for this one, we're going hashtag fingers crossed. On to the 6th pick now. 6th overall, got Dalvin Cook coming back in the 2nd round with Deebo Samuel. And then the 3rd round, rounding out with another running back in Josh Jacobs. So Dalvin Cook and Josh Jacobs as your 1 and 2 with Deebo Samuel as your wide receiver 1. I don't hate it. I mean, obviously I love Dalvin Cook early. Deebo Samuel, I know we're paying a hefty price tag for here this year based off of last year's production, and I'm going to be honest, I don't see last year's production happening again this year. So it worries me a little bit with Deebo being at the 2.07. You came back with Josh Jacobs, so you got your second running back. He's going to be splitting some touches with multiple guys in that backfield, but he'll still be the main guy in the backfield of the Las Vegas Raiders. If Deebo Samuel is anything close to last year, you're going to be hashtag cooking with gas for sure. Number 7, we got Najee Harris, current 7th overall player on the consensus rankings, followed up with Alvin Kamara and Keenan Allen. Okay, so Alvin Kamara is going to be one of those wild cards that I tell people every single year when it comes to draft time. If we do not know the outcome of off-field issues at the time of the draft, I avoid those players altogether because I don't want to deal with them after I've already drafted my team. There's rumors flying about that Alvin Kamara at some point could be suspended for multiple games this season. We don't know when that's going to happen, and we don't know anything just yet. So you got a safe, solid stud running back 1 in Najee Harris. The second pick, you were a little bit more risky with Alvin Kamara, and then came back with a super safe wide receiver 1 in Keenan Allen. So I don't mind the risk with Alvin Kamara because he's sandwiched between some safety. You're also going to have to maybe spend a few extra picks on running backs that you weren't expecting to, just to make sure that if something happens to Kamara, you have a viable backup on your bench. Damian Harris is a name that I throw around all the time that I'm getting in every single draft. He's kind of like one of those guys that I could plug and play if needed. So this one, hashtag nothing but Najee right here. Najee Harris there at the 107. Love it. 8th. Okay, so this one worries me a little bit if I'm being completely honest. At the 108, this is where Justin Jefferson is sitting. Coming back at the 205, we got Javonte Williams, and at the 308, A.J. Brown. Obviously, I love Justin Jefferson. That's not an issue. But coming back at the 205, it's kind of like this little itty-bitty dead zone for the running backs. And I love Javonte Williams, but we know that Melvin Gordon is back in the mix now, so Javonte's ceiling is going to be lowered. As my wide receiver 1 overall on my team, it worries me that it's Javonte Williams just a little bit. I would love to have him as my number 2. As my number 1, I'm a little bit worried because back in the 3rd round, we took another risk on A.J. Brown. Now, love A.J. Brown a lot. Dude's a stud. But he's in an offense now in Philadelphia that throws the ball less than any other team in the NFL. And there's multiple targets in this offense to feed with Dallas Goedert, because I'm feeling fancy right now. We got Devontae Smith, Jalen Reagor. Probably not a whole lot of Jalen Reagor, Miles Sanders, Boston Scott. There's other options that's just not A.J. Brown. He's not the only guy that's going to be force-fed, so it's a risk, right? So we got a little bit of a risk with Javonte, a little bit of a risk with A.J. Brown. That worries me a little bit. Hashtag Jays. Jays are wild because Justin Jefferson, Javonte Williams, A.J. Brown. Jays all over the place in this one, so Jays are wild. All right, 9th overall pick. Going at the 9th pick, Joe Mixon. Coming back at the 4th pick of the 2nd round with Travis Kelce. And then the 3.09, David Montgomery. Obviously, I love Mixon at the 9th pick. Love that. Travis Kelce, I understand it, right? Because he's basically a wide receiver 1. So, you're getting the production of a wide receiver. No more Tyreek Hill. I don't hate that. Coming back at the 309 and getting David Montgomery. Obviously, I love that it's a running back pick. And at this point of the draft, you're starting to run a little bit thin on safety, right? You don't want to reach too early for the likes of maybe like a Damian Harris, like I've been mentioning, who's probably going to be somebody you can get multiple rounds later. You don't want to reach up into the 3rd round and grab him. The reason that we love him so much is because of where you can draft him at. So you don't want to reach too much for players. So David Montgomery is going to have to get a ton of volume because he's running behind the worst offensive line in all of football. And if they can include him at all in the pass catching game, he should be a viable running back too. So I don't hate it. Hashtag Joe Dirt on this one. The 10th overall pick. So we got Jamar Chase, followed up by DeAndre Swift, and then J.K. Dobbins. So obviously, I'm a big Jamar Chase fan. Love Jamar Chase. Dude is an absolute stud. I don't even think we've seen his ceiling yet. Now, do we see it this year? I'm not saying that for sure, but the guy is crazy talented. Followed up by DeAndre Swift. Can I just say publicly on the record here that if I could trust the Detroit Lions and Dan Campbell to not screw it up, I would probably have DeAndre Swift inside my top 8 running backs. But he still plays on the Lions, and they still find a way to screw things up. Talent-wise, dude is up there. The organization he plays for just continually proves that they're making a bunch of mistakes. Then at the 310, J.K. Dobbins coming off a season-long injury. He looks healthy. He's out there throwing his trainer like 4 yards downfield. So we know Baltimore wants to run a lot again. If J.K. Dobbins is healthy and the Lions, utilize Swift how they should, pairing those two with Jamar Chase could be an absolute banger start to your draft. But there's some question marks there to start it. For this one, hashtag Swift kicking the Dobbins, right? Last thing you want to do is get kicked in your Dobbins. 11th, Devontae Adams coming back in the second with Stephon Diggs. And now you got Elijah Mitchell in the 311. I like Elijah Mitchell. I like the running game of the San Francisco 49ers. I love that Devontae Adams and Stephon Diggs are 2 stud wide receivers, and they're going to have to ball out because I would be terrified if Elijah Mitchell was my RB1 on my team. A lot of people are like, yeah, but you got Adams and Diggs. Cool, I still got to start a running back or 2, and that's going to be one of those columns every single week that I'm probably going to be playing from behind on against my opponent. So that worries me that Elijah Mitchell would be the running back 1. Hashtag digging your little Mitchells right here. If you like the 11th overall start. Lastly, the 12th overall pick. This is where Nick Chubb is sitting at the 112. On the turn, Aaron Jones. And then at the 312, Travis Etienne. So another running back heavy start. Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones, and Travis Etienne. Okay, sign me up for that one. Y'all know I love me some Nick Chubb, but then Aaron Jones, and then the potential X factor, maybe in all of fantasy football this year in Travis Etienne. Sure, you could probably go with a wide receiver right here and end up with the likes of, let me just see, who would be another wide receiver in this general vicinity that we could have swapped out for Travis Etienne if we so chose. Maybe it would help if I was on the right tab here. All right, let's see. What other around the 312? So we're looking around pick 36 or so. We would end up with a guy maybe similar to Deontay Johnson. I like Deontay Johnson. What's he going to be with Mitchell Trubisky or Kenny Pickett? Don't really know that. Jalen Waddle's in that area. You could go DK Metcalf and take a total, wild card pick there and see what happens with him in Seattle. You got Terry McLaurin, maybe Michael Pittman. We can drop down a little bit more. Michael Pittman's a 4th rounder, but if you wanted to reach a little bit for Michael Pittman, that would be another option there. as well. So there's other options where the 12th overall pick I'm starting to fall in love with, because if I can get a Nick Chubb and an Aaron Jones to start my draft, the 3rd overall pick, I can take as much risk as I really want to at that point, because I feel like I have a pretty safe base with the other two at the 112 and the 201 for this one. Hashtag rub-a-dub Chubb down below. Now, maybe you're like, Jake, I can't sit here and remember all the scenarios. Don't worry. I got you covered. I got you covered right here. Maybe a little small if you're on a cell phone, but here are all 12 scenarios and their hashtags on the screen at the same time. Remember, leave a comment down below with which hashtag you feel is the best overall scenario for that certain pick. And then, if you want to let me know, if you guys already know what draft pick you're going to be having, maybe you see things a little bit differently. Remember, this wasn't just Jake playing favorites. I was trying to use consensus ADP, so I wasn't like reaching for players super early just to have, you know, my top guys in there. Trying to make it as realistic as possible, but let me know what you think down below in the comment section with which scenario you like the best. But I think this really helps paint a pretty clear picture for you of kind of what you're looking for, right? A bunch of mock drafts, everything's going to be different in every single one. Once you get to your real life draft, that's going to be different because people are going to take crazy names and crazy spots. But if you have a general idea of where players should go, you can start to build out a pretty good strategy just by playing with the different names and seeing what you like on paper. It's a lot easier to look ahead of time than once you're on the draft and you're looking at your overall team and you're building it going, I don't know if I like this or not. Like, get those ideas of what you like and you don't like way beforehand so you're not panicking and worrying about it on draft day. So let me know down below what scenario you like the best. Do me a favor, continue to hit that like button because our like goal is 1,000 for this video to give away another draft guide. So make sure you hit that like button, leave those comments down below. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, I have no idea why not. We're going to set you up for fantasy football championships all throughout the land here this year, and we're looking forward to doing it. But for now, hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day, a great week. We'll talk to you later.